happy to see some rainfall because that certainly helps with the tree situation, Mayor. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Yes, it was kind of bittersweet yesterday because we had our annual Mayor's Golf Tournament up at Granite Links. We raised money to help us pay for events like the Christmas Parade and Flag Day. And also we do some charitable work in the community with those funds. So we thank everybody involved yesterday, all our sponsors. But, I think we were just teeing off and it started to rain. And by the way, it didn't affect my game. Rain or shine, I stink in golf. But we had a big turnout. A lot of people were faithful. They hung in there right through 18, which was amazing. And it was a good day overall. But yes, so that's the sweet part, the bitter part, the rain. But at the end of the day, the rain is so badly needed. I mean, we've had special trucks in trying to keep the islands going. But you can always replace the grass and flowers, and they bounce back. But when you start to lose the trees and shrubs, that's serious stuff. And there's a lot of investment we've made in those areas. So we're trying to sustain those. But obviously, there's nothing like a good rainfall. So I don't know what the total was we got. We must have got at least a half an inch, which is obviously important and good to get. I think we're going to get some more today. So that's all good. I mean, if you just drive around, you see the fields. I haven't seen them like this in a long, long time. They're just like straw. I mean, it's been that bad. So again, the grass can bounce back, but the bigger materials, the trees that aren't fully mature, they're kind of in between, the root growth is not deep enough to sustain itself at this point. So, hopefully we'll turn the corner a little bit and we'll see some more precipitation in the next couple of months.
Yeah, some of the forecasters are saying the tropics are starting to get active, so we may get some precipitation that way. We just don't want to get it all at once, of course.
No, that's true. We've certainly experienced that over the years, so
Yes.
we don't need it all at once. But we'll take what we can get in the meantime.
Yeah. How much money did you raise, by the way, at the charity golf tournament?
Probably in the vicinity of about $150,000, Joe.
Wow. That's great. That's great. Is that pretty comparable to years past?
Yeah, it's probably. I'd say this year's probably the highest we've had.
Oh.
We might hit 160 after everything is counted. So, no, very, very grateful to all our sponsors and players and a lot of the businesses of the community, and they all kick in and they know it's for good causes. So, good
Great.
stuff.
Great. Speaking of the nature of things, what's going on at the Pine Hill Cemetery expansion project, Mayor?
Well, I'm going to check in this morning to see how yesterday affected them, because when you're digging out a whole section like that, when you have a heavy rain, it
Yep.
can do some quick damage as far as flooding some things out and creating some gullies you hadn't anticipated. But no, it's going a little slower than they first thought. But there's a lot of ledge issues up there, a lot of rock up there we're dealing with. But still moving forward, and it's going to be a great project for the city. And people, you don't think about the issue of death until something happens to a loved one, truly. And you certainly don't think about where that loved one's going to go until that happens. So, as you know, we were really close to being out of graves completely. And though I know there's a certain council, so we shouldn't be in the cemetery business. Well, we have been since the 1600s, so we're not getting it out of any way soon until we run out of space. So, everyone's excited about this that's involved in the project. It's not only going to provide thousands of new graves, but it's also going to be a huge improvement on that cemetery aesthetically, beauty-wise. There's going to be some nice art elements in there, rock formations and things, and some water elements that, cemeteries, not just for people at Memorial Day to remember their loved ones, Joe, but they've really become urban parks. Mount Wollaston, I go by there periodically, and people walking, jogging, riding their bikes through. Obviously, people visiting loved ones as well, but in an urban setting like ours, they become a beautiful area, a safe area to go up and walk and jog and what have you. So once Pine Hill is completely repaved, the streets will all be smooth. It'll be the same for folks that live in that part of our city.
People have asked me, I'm sure they've asked you, when pre-sales might begin.
Yeah, I know that Commissioner Murphy and his team are having discussions with both in-house and I think with some potential outside vendors to assist us with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still a little early for that.
Okay.
Because what we don't want is to tell one and then somebody need it within, 2 months unexpectedly. We're not ready, you know. So it's trying to find that balance, if you will.
Sure.
but I think once they really get moving on the rock stuff and getting rid of some of that ledge, I think then we'll be in much better shape and be able to move it more quickly.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of golf courses, any movement on the Furnace Brook Golf Course renovation?
I know the final design's being done on the clubhouse,
okay.
I got to check in with my department, but we'll be going out to bid pretty soon for that, I believe, this fall. But I know to date we're doing very well up there. They've exceeded revenue expectations, which then, with that kind of revenue, that should pay for a good chunk of the improvements to the course. And of course, as you know, there was some controversy early on about various aspects of it, including the issue of whether it was going to continue as a golf course. There were a lot of rumors suggesting that the administration was going to sell it for house lots, and all kinds of wacky stuff. So I think for the vast majority of neighbors, they're very happy that it'll stay as open space. We're not changing the use. We're embellishing the course. It needed a lot of work. And of course, just like the county has one over in Montclair that makes money for the county, over time this course will only pay for itself, but I think help us with additional revenues as well, which will also help us with general park and improvements and recreation programs and so forth. So I think it's a great program, and I think for the most part people agree with that.
But will people still be able to sled in the wintertime, Mayor? That's the big question.
I don't see why not.
We talk about there is a state election this year. You may have heard a little bit about that. And the early voting will take place beginning this Saturday, actually. I know the city is following in line with the new Voting Rights Act.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I've always felt unless you have a disability or a reason to get out and vote, I always enjoyed going out to vote that day. You see a lot of your neighbors, you see folks there. I have mixed feelings about it. I've always felt that you've had plenty of opportunity, because if you're going away, you could get an absentee ballot. If you're disabled or elderly, you could get an absentee mailed home to you. So now, mailing out to at least the application to every household certainly makes it easier. So I guess I would argue that people have no excuse not to vote. The flip side is, I enjoy government, and I'm not so sure you want everybody voting all the time, in the sense of, if they don't know what the issues are, they don't know the candidates, don't know positions, is that wise? I don't know. It's a right to vote. It doesn't mean you have to vote. That's one of the great privileges of it. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I know Nikki Clerk and Joe Newton and the team at the clerk's office has done great work and continue to do so. I know a lot of the mail-in ballots, they've received several thousand as of last week, so way ahead of the game. 6,000
actually, yeah, as of last week, probably more since then.
How many did you get?
6,000.
6, okay. Yeah, the last I heard was about 4, so that's great.
Yeah. Are you endorsing any candidates this year, Mayor?
Yeah, I am. As you know, I'm a bit conservative, but I'm also pragmatic, and I've had relationships with people in government. So I am with Maura Healey. I've worked with her as AG. We don't agree on every issue, but I think she's well experienced and manages well, and she has the people of Commonwealth, I think, in her. And the right thing to do. She's fought for people in so many different ways, like the utility companies, for example, those companies that come in and take advantage of the elderly. In all kinds of ways, she's been a very advocate for the average person. So that's important in today's times. So I'm definitely with Maura. And of course, Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll is a candidate, and I've been fortunate to work with Kim over the years. She's mayor of Salem. She's mayor a little longer than I've been mayor of Quincy, so she's been a great resource. Very bright, does a nice job for the city of Salem, and I think she'll be excellent. Just as Karen Polito was good for Charlie Baker, I think Kim Driscoll will be tremendous for Maura Healey, because Maura Healey doesn't have any experience on the municipal side, but Kim certainly does. And I think bringing that to the table will be big time. It'll be I think the Baker Polito is a great model, and I think Healey and Driscoll would fit into that model beautifully because of what they bring to the table. So I'm certainly shooting for them and hoping for them.
I want to remind folks there is a Democratic candidates forum tonight at Braintree Town Hall that will be carried live right here on Quincy Access Television, too. So folks can tune in
Is
tonight.
that for all the races, Joe?
For the statewide races, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
So that'll be available for folks to see and educate themselves a little bit about the candidates.
great.
Mayor, your assessment after the first day of the Orange Line shutdown, and how you think it's going?
Well, we're going to be in touch with folks the next couple of days at the T. From my observation point and the limited conversations I've had, it's gone very well. They've met the need with the coach buses, which are very comfortable buses. I know that we had people with the same anxiety when the decision was made to shut Wollaston down.
Yep.
People going a little crazy, including a certain counselor. And, within a couple of weeks after the fact, the buses were rolling. People were very happy with the way things were going. And the goal wasn't to disrupt people. The goal was to get the station done more efficiently, save money, and get it done in a quicker amount of time. And that happened with Wollaston with I think it was they saved 3 years in total in millions of dollars. The Orange Line, part of the problem when you're working on the lines is you've got to wait to shut the system down, which is like 1 a.m. You got to wait to shut the power down. You've got to set up for construction, and then you've got to break down for construction, repower the system. So, you've only got a couple of hours really to get work done. And how much can you get done? 2 or 3 hours in a night. So I think this was a hard decision, but the right decision. And I think down the road, people will be pleased looking backward, realizing that it was the right move.
I've heard folks question, is the same thing going to happen with the red lines eventually?
Well, so far, we haven't had that issue.
Yeah.
They've had limited red line close, a week, a few days here, weekends here and there over the last several years in an effort to update and upgrade the system and the switches and getting ready for the new cars. So I haven't heard that yet. We'll deal with that when it comes, but I think we're in a little better shape on the red line pieces than what happened on the orange line. So.
Mayor, always
But
enjoyed.
stay tuned. The system is old.
Yes.
It was neglected for a long time, and I remind people of that, Joe. It really was.
It's the oldest actually in the country, I believe.
That's right. You got it.
And I heard fault laid on the Big Dig many years ago. Funding was diverted at that time and really never restored. So.
Yeah, I mean that certainly was part of the argument. I also think that there's pros and cons about leadership and everybody, and but the governors really didn't pay much attention to it over the years until this governor.
Always appreciate the time, Mayor. Good to talk to you.
Thanks. Here, same here, Joe.
Yep.
Have a good day.
Bye bye. You too.
Bye now.
Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch. It's our weekly City Hall update here on AEM Quincy.